It was my first musical, my first adventure in the idea of musical film and so forth. I respect the theater. I respect film in the industry, but we always want to do something in the presence of an audience. Well, at least I do. I'm an entertainer. I like to perform. I like to be on stage.
Yes, sir. This is Kevin Bourne, also known as KB the Boss from ShifterMagazine.com. Now, one of the movies that we're really looking forward to this summer is the Warner Brothers film In the Heights. Now, without giving away too much about the film, it does feature an all-Latin ensemble cast and is a great blend of music, comedy, and drama. Now, we recently had a chance to sit down with the cast of the film, including Melissa Barrera, Leslie Grace, Orange is the New Black star Dascha Polanco, and of course, the legend himself, Jimmy Smits. Now, here is what they had to say. Now, Melissa, you talked about how grueling some of the dance elements were for this film and kind of having that feeling like you weren't going to get it. For both you and Leslie, like, what were your final thoughts or maybe emotions that were kind of going through your mind when you saw the final product of the film, having put in the level of work that you did on this film?
It was overwhelming, honestly, because even though we were there all summer and we knew like the grandeur of and the scale of these numbers,
yeah.
It was different to like see it all put together and to see it with like the fantastical elements, the VFX that they added, and it was just incredible to think like we did that. And you know, there were moments during the dance rehearsals where we were all like, what did we get into, or how are we ever going to be able to pull this off? And then the choreography team was like pushing us, and they believed that we could nail these numbers that were like so ambitious and so intricate in choreography. You feel like you've conquered the world. You feel like you climbed Mount Everest, and it's just, there's no greater feeling than that.
Also, like the pride that you feel when you're seeing, you know, like the 10 weeks of blood, sweat, and tears that your friend went through, like to get this number, and you see it on the screen, and you're like, I want to say something that you're not supposed to say, but you want to say like, oh my God, like, you are shining, you know, it's just, you are glowing outside of your body, you know, and it feels like a place of satisfaction or a sense of satisfaction that I've never experienced. My first watch I was bawling all 2.5 hours. So yeah.
Obviously, having a large Latinx ensemble cast like this is very rare in film. So for you, Olga and Jimmy, where does this cast in film rank for you when it comes to the other casts and films you've had a chance to be a part of so far in your career?
This is number one for me, Kevin. I mean, this is a climactic point in my life and my career to have brought this role to have had this journey with this role. So I would say top.
You know, Kev, I've been fortunate to have been in a couple of these ensemble pieces that you're talking about through the decades. And we always feel like this is the one that's going to break through. The difference is, and I think this relates to so many different topics, not just the Latinx community. And now that we've come out of this, or are coming out of this pandemic where the world got jolted, and we had to think about other social things that relate to inclusivity. This is going to be a little bit of joy that I think that audiences are going to really relate to because of the universal themes, to feel community, that you want your children to do better than you. What am I thinking about, home that I left or the new home that I have? All of those things I think resonate really well in the film. And I think I'm hoping that audiences will take this little bit of joy and just go with it.
Now, this question is specifically for Dascha. You talked a little bit about the musicality and the singing and the dancing involved in this production. I was wondering if, having worked on this film, if it's kind of inspired you at all to kind of explore more theater as you kind of progress in your career.
Of course, I respect the theater. I respect film in the industry, but we always want to do something in the presence of an audience. You yearn for it. Well, at least I do. I'm an entertainer. I like to perform. I like to be on stage. And so definitely. But from the music aspect, it was very scary for me as a first. And although, you know, I'm not as present in the film, you know, it was such a great way to know, to validate you as an artist, that you can do this too. You know, you can pursue other ventures in this industry. So for me, it was definitely a moment of, okay, this is something that I want to continue to do.
Now, this last question is for Jon. And first off, congratulations on this film. I absolutely loved it. Now, obviously, with this film, there's a very impactful message, and we're seeing a community being depicted on screen that we typically don't see in film and television. As the director, what are you hoping the impact of this film will be when it is released?
You know, that's not for me to say of what people take it as. I know that we tried to tell as much truth and through empathy as much as we could, and obviously entertainment. But I really do hope that people feel the joy and the love. We have no villain in this movie. There's no guns, there's no knives, there's no big bad mayor trying to buy out everything. This is post-gentrification, which in a way, the show originally was about gentrification, or it was an active thing in it. And this one, we really made the move to say, what do you do when you can't fight anymore and you just have to get through? And each person was gonna have a different way. And I love the idea that we weren't gonna say that any of those were wrong, that this next generations are gonna have a future that we can't. Jimmy Smits says that in there, and I always love that line that Kiara wrote, because it is true that every generation's gonna have that tension because they can't see what the next horizon is. And so for us, it was a message, especially as a whole, as a movie, as he's telling these kids this story, that tag, you're it, you're the next, you see something that we can't, because we need you.
Now, if you've been dying to see some diversity on the big screen and love yourself some Latin music, you'll definitely love this film as much as we did. So make sure to go check it out. Once again, this is Kevin Bourne, also known as KB the Boss, for ShifterMagazine.com. Peace.